Hi, my love. Welcome to your spiritual seance. This is going to be a lengthy reading. Usually it goes for about 40-ish minutes. So what I would like you to do is the first half of the reading, I'm going to be doing the channeled portion, and I'm actually going to do it live. Usually I do this ahead of time and then I just read back to you what I get, but I'm actually going to do it live. So during the time that I'm doing the channeled portion, I recommend you getting a crystal. So if you have access to crystals, if you have any, I recommend smoky quartz, clear quartz, even rose quartz would be good. Or another common one usually is like labradorite. So if you have access to a labradorite, I would get that too. Whatever one you feel called to. Or if you have a special crystal that just resonates with you and that makes you feel calm and relaxed, get that one. Okay, so there's no right or wrong crystal to get. It's just, those are my recommendations. And then also just get yourself comfortable, have something to write with, a pen and a piece of paper or a notebook or whatever, so that you could write notes for the reading, okay? I'm going to go ahead and light the candle. As I light the candle, I invite spirit into this space so that we can connect with my client. It's a crackle candle. So you're going to hear crackling. And that's also for you to have a visual to look at during this session, at least during the channeled portion. After we do the channeled portion, then I'm going to go in and do the tarot reading. So let's cleanse the space. All right. So I'm going to be holding on to the smoky quartz because I read your question. I actually have your question written down. And you said that you battle with depression. You want to evolve spiritually, but you don't know where to start. So that's why I'm recommending smoky quartz for you, because it's really, really, really good. Mine is a tumbled version, so it's real smooth and shiny looking, but you could find it in raw form and, you know, different forms. But smoky quartz is really good for depression, for anxiety, for absorbing negative vibes. So I really recommend that stone for you. If you don't own a piece, I do recommend getting a piece. You could easily find it on Etsy. You could find it online. You can even find it at a lot of the crystal shops. If you have a local crystal shop, they will most likely have smoky quartz. It's a very common stone. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and focus. Let's see what comes through. So this part where I'm writing my notes, it takes about 5 minutes, 5 or so minutes, and then we'll just dive right into the reading. So go ahead and get comfortable, my love. Okay. Okay, I was gonna end the video. Never mind. I'm gonna just keep it going. Okay, so you had quite a bit that came through. And I need to make sure I have my, where is it? Here we go. Because you have a spirit animal that came through too. Okay, my love. So I'm just gonna just go through and discuss with you what's taking place. So the first thing that I noticed was trees, okay? And throughout the entire channeling, I kept seeing trees and earth vibes. I even mentioned it at the very end, forest. Earth energy is really strong around you. I don't know what your sign is, but if you have an earth sign or you have a lot of earth energy in your chart, that would make sense. Or your chart meaning your birth chart. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if you know your birth time, the location, obviously your birth date, you can look up for free online your birth chart. So I would recommend doing that. This way you could see how much energy of the different elements you have in your chart. But I feel like either you have a lot of earth energy and that's part of you, or the earth signs, like seeing the trees and the forest and stuff, is something you crave or you need more of, more earth energy, which will go hand in hand with what I saw later for you, which I'll tell you. So definitely keep that in mind. Try to identify, do you have earth in your chart? Do you have a lot of it? Or do you lack it? And maybe that's what you need and what your body is craving. And that's why it came through. Okay. I also got whisper in the wind. So the trees, I was just seeing it was like I was laying on the ground looking up and just seeing all of the trees, the leaves moving and flowing through the wind. And almost like you could hear whispering. I don't know if that's something that you do, if that is like something that you do that's comforting to you, just laying down in the grass, looking up at the sky. Maybe that's a childhood memory of yours. But that came through really strong at the very beginning of this session. Then I wrote down speak, because this is what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the book Speak. I don't know if you're a big reader or whatnot. I believe they made a movie out of it, but Speak, and it's about a rape victim. And so I wrote down rape and I wrote down sexual. So I don't know if there's something happened to you in the past. It could have been, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but for some reason that was really sticking out to me. Rape, sexual, something like a sexual manipulation or just someone taking advantage of you. Okay. So that was the vibe I was feeling. I was also myself. I was sexually, I guess I would say I was raped when I was 14 years old. And so that's why that came through to me, and I was feeling that vibe for you. So I don't know if that's something that you've dealt with, or if you've dealt with like sexual manipulation. Like I'm not getting the right words here, but dealing with somebody who took advantage of you in a way, in some sort of a sexual manner. But that's coming through. So that came through for you as well. This could be a source of some of the depression perhaps that you're feeling, some of the disconnect that you're feeling, because there's some unfinished, unclosed issues from the past. And I know a lot about that because I went through it too. It took me 13 years to finally seek therapy for the stuff that I went through as a young girl. And I will tell you from experience that it was a very emotionally draining and a very emotional experience. Every single therapy session I went to, I was going once a week, every Wednesday, for an hour. I sobbed my eyes out because it was years and years and years of pent up emotions and memories that were coming out of me. And it was this huge purge, this huge release. And I had 6 months of that and I needed it. So, if this is something that resonates with you, my love, one, I send you my love, and if I could give you a hug, I would give you a hug. If there was something that you went through, that you endured, or something you observed, or something that you just experienced that maybe you've just pushed back in the deepest parts of yourself, that came through, okay? And I just send you my love, and just encourage you to, when it's time for you, when you feel comfortable to speak about it too, because maybe that's why speak came up too. But when you feel comfortable dealing with that part of yourself, it's a very liberating thing to go through healing for that. Okay. I also wrote down not trustworthy. So whatever took place in the past sexually wise, there's a lack of trust there. There's a lack of, I feel like maybe it's manipulation that took place with lovers or somebody. But there's a lack of trust with you, and maybe, you know, jumping into a relationship with a person, whether it's a recent relationship or it's just like in the past, you've always struggled with the element of trust in relationships, okay? And those kind of things, it's normal, and they're normal side effects from going through something traumatic. But as you go through a process of healing, those things get more obtainable to control, okay? I wrote down parents that are hard to understand. They're no equal or not equal. So I was getting like these feelings of, you've had issues, you've had disconnects with parents, feeling like maybe you weren't equal, that you weren't worthy. They made you feel unworthy. I feel like there's a lot of comparison that has been happening with the parents, in your past, like just people constantly comparing you to other people, your successes to other people's successes. It's like, I just get that sense that you feel like you've never been good enough, okay? And it's just, they've drilled it into you, and I feel like your parents gave you hard love, okay? That's the feeling I'm getting. I wrote down you have a female spirit guide. She's like an older sister vibe, okay? I wasn't sensing any past loved ones around you, but if it just so happens that the female is someone who has passed that is around you, then perhaps that's what I was getting. But the sensation she was giving me was very faint. She wasn't strong. Coming through. So I feel like she's like, if she is a past person, like someone who is past, she's like newer to the other side and doesn't yet know how to come through vibrationally. But I feel like you do have like an older sister, like a spirit guide that acts as an older sister or feels like an older sister energy. This when I wrote older sister, I was getting the sense of, this is somebody who's watching out for you. They look out for you, but at the same time, they're letting you go through. It's almost like, okay, it's almost like they will see you about to, like, on the verge of trip, fall, you know, have a disaster coming on the way, right? And they see this happening, but they're not going to prevent it from happening. They're actually allowing you to go through it because you need to, in order to expand, and in order to grow, in order to create in your life. You have to go through these things. So that's why I feel like she's very faint. Like she's there, and I think she will step in if something were to happen that would alter you from the path you're supposed to be on. But it's almost like she's letting you go through these things because you need to have that experience. You need to have that, you know, that lesson. She also kind of mentioned that you need courage and companionship, that you crave a best friend. So I feel like maybe it's been a while since you've had, and I'm getting chills on my left side. I feel like it's been a while since you've had a best friend, like that feeling of having someone really close to you that you can connect with. I feel like you crave that. Maybe you don't always admit it. I feel like you won't always admit loneliness, but it is there. I also feel like you have loneliness even if you are surrounded by people. And I feel like I resonate with you a lot on that level because I'm the same way. I could be in a room full of people and I will still feel completely lonely, completely disconnected with everybody. So I feel like that's kind of something that you're going through. That you crave a best friend. Okay, and then I jumped into receiving herbal remedies, marijuana. So I don't know if that's something that you like to partake in, if it's a recreational thing, or if you take for medicinal reasons, marijuana. But I feel like that's an element of you that you should look into. So if that's not something that you currently do, but maybe it's something you've been curious about, that came through. So medicinal, herbal remedies instead of taking medications. Now, I am not a doctor and I'm not here to tell you don't take medications, take herbal remedies, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's been a bit of curiosity on your part to partake in herbal remedies, more natural remedies, than what the doctor prescribes. Okay. But of course, as always, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not telling you. I just have to say that. But that's what came through. So if you are curious about those things, I encourage you to dive in deeper, do your research, because that's coming through in your energy. I wrote down you to relax the mind. So definitely you're needing more of a mind relaxer. I put that you're in your headspace a lot too. Yeah, always in the headspace. Hard to separate your thoughts. So I feel like your mind is just jumbled. It's a lot. There's a lot going on in your mind. There's a lot constantly that you're thinking about. I feel like sometimes you're drowning in your thoughts, that you can't differentiate reality from, like, how would you say it? Like, fantasy from reality. Like, I feel like maybe you have a hard time differentiating the two, and so maybe that's where your depression kind of kicks in, is because, like, you just don't know how to get out of this fog, which would again be really interesting to see your birth chart, because perhaps you have a heavy, like, Neptune, like a Neptune transit, or like a heavy Pisces kind of a thing. What else? Always in the headspace. Okay, and then you have a red aura. So I was seeing a wave of red color around the body. So a red aura. Now, red can be very different. I was once told red auras can be very, like, full of motivation. A lot of people who are impulsive people, or sports types of people, or law enforcement, like people who are constantly on the go and who are very forceful and who are very physical, have red auras. But with your red aura, I feel there's a lot of pent up anger. I feel like it's a lot of suppressed emotions, and I feel like that goes hand in hand with the rape and the sexual energy that I was feeling earlier. So I don't know if those two go hand in hand together, but I feel like you have a lot of things that you have not yet allowed yourself to have closure with, and it's literally suppressed energy. And really the image that comes to mind when I feel that is a volcano, like literally a volcanic eruption waiting to happen. I don't know if you have, or if you've suffered from headaches from suppressed emotions, or if you have bloody noses constantly. And it's kind of funny that I mentioned that, because sometimes I have physical feelings of my clients prior to their readings, and I have you guys scheduled, so I know when I'm going to do your readings. And I'm not going to lie, I had 2 days ago, for 2 mornings in a row, I had really bad headaches, like really bad headaches. And I was like, oh, it's probably because I'm not drinking enough water or whatever. But I also had really bad bloody noses, and I don't get bloody noses often. So I'm saying that because the aura is coming out red, and I'm feeling the suppressed anger and the volcanic eruption and whatnot. So perhaps I was already tuning into your energy, because I knew I was going to be doing your reading this weekend. This weekend, meaning Monday is considered my weekend, because that's my day off. So it could be that too. So I thought I would throw that in there, because sometimes that is part of it, you know. If it resonates, that's all you, girl. I know that. I'm like, maybe it was a client and not my own, you know. But also, so if you do struggle with those things, know that came through too. I also wrote down with the red aura, the root chakra. So root chakra is the root chakra is the energy point that is in the base of your spine, where your booty is, or it's also in your feet. I see it in the feet. So think of it as it's what roots you. It's what grounds you to the earth. Okay. It is what is stable. It what stabilizes you. And when your root chakra is all over the place and you're not stable, you're going to feel chaotic. You're going to feel wild. Your mood swings are going to be all over the place. You're going to feel like you don't have a grip on reality. And I feel like that's what you're going through. So I highly encourage you, if you do meditations and whatnot, to start working with your root chakra. That's another reason why I was mentioning the smoky quartz. Smoky quartz literally comes from the earth, Mother Earth. They chisel it out of the ground. It's a very grounding stone. Smoky quartz is it's an amazing stone. I'm getting chills again because I feel like that's connecting with you. But it's an amazing stone, and it supports and it sucks up the negative energies. Like, I feel like smoky quartz is a really good stone. I feel like you would definitely benefit from it. And I feel like just working with your root chakra, eating food, and these are ways you could do so. Eating foods that are from the earth, okay? Think red foods you could do by the color, or foods that come from literally the ground. So potatoes, carrots, strawberries. What else comes from the earth? Lettuce, like, you know what I mean? Like, things that come from the ground. Those are root chakra related foods. And you can also Google it. You can look it up too. Or you could associate the color. So foods that are red, strawberries, apples, red potatoes. That would be a really good one. You know what I mean? So red colored foods, or, associate by the color, or literally the food that comes from the ground. Another way is wearing red, becoming more familiar with the color, okay? Painting your nails, the color that you're working with, wearing red blouses or whatever. Or also wearing the stone, okay? So red stones, red jasper is really good. There's also, I think I have it here. Red coral is also really good. And then smoky quartz is good for grounding. But definitely, like, red is a color that you need to vibrate with more, okay? And then I wrote down, you need more stability. I wrote down, you're afraid of heights, afraid to climb. So that to me was like, I was getting the message of being afraid of heights, but I was taking it as it's symbolic for you're afraid to climb. You're afraid to level up in your life. You're afraid to see new possible opportunities and expand. You're comfortable where you're at, and you'd rather be comfortable and settled than grow because you're afraid of the unknown. And I think that's where maybe you're struggling with your question, where you said you don't know where to start. You want to evolve spiritually, but you don't know where to start. I feel like we need to start literally from the ground and plant your seed first so that you can sprout and bloom. Like, that's how I'm seeing it. Then the spirit animal came through, a panda bear. Now, the panda bear was popping up somewhere through here when I was writing all your other notes. I was seeing panda bear, panda bear, panda bear. But I didn't write him down because I'm like, well, maybe that's just me. Sometimes I do doubt myself. So I'm like, well, maybe that's just me, or maybe I'm craving Panda Express. I don't know. But panda bear was coming up for you. If you resonate with that animal, if that's a favorite animal, if that reminds you of something or somebody, panda bear is definitely coming through in your energy. So I'm going to pull out my book of spirit animals, and I'm going to read to you the panda bear, because perhaps it's coming up because there's a message that you need to hear. So let's see if panda bear is even in here. Yep, here he is. So we have panda. And okay, so I'm going to read to you the message. You're thinking... What did I just say? You're in your head a lot. Okay. Let's just get through this. Your thinking is much too polarized into black and white and right and wrong. So try to broaden your perspective. You can do anything you want once you set your mind to it, especially if the desire originates in your heart. Take yourself somewhere up high where you can view the world below and meditate from the vantage point, observing how you feel as you do. That trips me out because the beginning of your channeled portion, I was laying on the ground looking up into the sky, the trees. I love it. I love when spirit does this. Okay. Rather than juggling a whole bunch of projects, take one at a time and finish it before moving on to the next, which is your advice there for your spiritual path. Instead of trying to take on a million things that you want to do spiritually, let's focus on one thing. Let's plant that one seed. Incorporate the goddess Kuan Yin in your panoply. Wow, I never even heard of that word. Panoply of spiritual consultants. Kuan Yin she actually came into me in my dreams one time. She's goddess. So that's Kuan Yin, KWANYIN. Look her up, okay? Rely on your intuitive voice for guidance rather than input from others. So trusting your intuition more so than what everybody else is telling you. That's beautiful. So now I see why Mr. Panda Bear was coming through. So I hope that that message resonated with you and it's something you needed to hear. And then the last thing I wrote was the Fae and forest energy. So fairy energy is really strong around you. The forest, the trees, plant life, all of that is really strong around you as well. So I'm taking it as, and I get chills again. I'm taking it as I feel like you need more earth vibes around you, my love. More root chakra, more stability. You need more trust, confidence, that kind of thing. But you need to learn to plant your seeds. So now let's get into the tarot portion. And because this is still part of my October readings, I'm going to pull out the October decks. So I have the Oracle of Oddities, and I'm going to pull from the tarot, the Tricker Tarot. All right. So let's look into that. Let's look into the question that you want to evolve spiritually, but you don't know how to start or what to do. So let's look at that. Okay. All right. So your spiritual energy is coming up with the Three of Pentacles, which I love that because the Three of Pentacles is all about rebuilding, redesigning. It was a message I gave earlier today to my earth signs, actually. Redesigning your life, redesigning an aspect of yourself this week. So I feel like that resonates with you. If you follow me on Instagram, look at my weekly energy reading for this week and the earth signs. I gave that message today. So check it out because I think you'll resonate with that message. But the Three of Pentacles is coming up for you with your spiritual energy, your spiritual path. And that's paired with Memento Mori. Let's get a clarifying card with that. I feel like Memento Mori is like, it means certain something, but I can't think of it right now. But it definitely goes along with death. Yeah, toxic. So I feel like right now, rebuilding, redesigning, I feel like this is dealing with the past. And like we were talking about, I mentioned the stuff from the very beginning of your channeled reading, the toxicities of your past. So if you did go through something that really triggered you, it really bothered you, that could be the source of the source of a lot of the depression that you feel, the source of a lot of the stuff that you have. There's some pent up emotions there. So if there is something, as I was giving you that channeled reading, if there was something that came to mind that you know exactly what it is, that's probably where you're going to have to start that dance, where you're going to have to start that whole learning to face it. Because I feel like I see these two cards as like learning to face your demons, okay? Learning to face what is toxic, okay, about you or in your past. And that's how you're going to start that shift with freeing yourself spiritually, okay? So what is blocking you? We have the Sun, interesting, and we have Observe. So what is blocking the spiritual path? The Sun card is your happiness, okay? It's your happiness, but the Sun card is also your youth, okay? It's your childhood. So interesting that that came up. It to me is kind of like there's definitely something from the childhood, from the way you were raised. This could go hand in hand with the parents. That's why it came up in your message, perhaps. The parenting, there was something that you were like, that you dealt with as a child or a young version of yourself, that is blocking you from really opening up, spreading your wings spiritually. Observe is asking you to look into it, okay? To observe, to see it from maybe a new set of eyes. And maybe now that you're much older from who you were when you went through that experience, maybe now you're able to observe the situation from a different point of view, a different perspective, a different mindset, because it's been so and so amount of years since you've gone through that. Like I told you, I went through my thing when I was 14. And it was like between 14 and 19, I went through it. And I was like 13 years later, I was in my mid-20s when I finally was able to deal with it and face it head on. And I was literally able to observe it with a brand new perspective because I was much more mature. I was a little bit more experienced in my life. I knew who I was a little bit more, and I was ready for it. So it may take time. I'm not saying that this stuff's going to come out for you right away, but it's there and it's coming out in your energy, and that's why it came through in the channeled portion. So if there is something, my love, that is toxic and something that you know you got to deal with, just know that it's there to come out when you're ready. I'm not pushing you to do it now, okay? So spiritually speaking, that's what's coming through. So that's where we're going to dive into first. Now let's look into what you can do. What can you do with your spiritual journey? What can you discover about yourself? Let's look into that. And you know what? Kuan Yin coming up with the panda bear energy, she may actually be the goddess that wants to work with you through this first part of your spiritual path. And even just by searching Kuan Yin, you may even open yourself up to a whole new world of things. I'm telling you, like, you'll go down the rabbit hole. So I urge you to look her up. She came through to me in a dream in my very early portion of my spiritual journey. So I'm telling you, these things happen for a reason. So really, really, really look into her. I encourage it, and trust every feeling, emotion, message that you feel like you're receiving. It's all signs, okay? So I pulled the Page of Wands for you with that. Page of Wands is literally a student. It's a young person. It's a learner, someone who's inexperienced. And the wand suit just makes me feel like it's like that flame, that igniting the flame, that first step that you're going to take in your path. We have the Star, which is all about healing, So your spiritual path, your spiritual path is going to start with a spark. Okay, that first initial thing that's going to get you going, which I feel like it's Kuan Yin is part of it. This reading is probably part of it. And then you're going to go through the healing process. The Star card coming up, without a doubt, there's some healing that needs to take place. We've already identified what it is that needs to be healed. There's something there in the past. Only you know what that is, but that's what came through. So that healing process is there. We have build. I love it. So you're building your way up. You're starting from the bottom, working your way up. You are planting a seed, okay, for your spirituality to grow and bloom. And your panda spirit animal literally told you, don't take on too many different things all at once. Focus on one thing, okay? Focus on one thing. And I feel like that one thing needs to be that past, the stuff from the past. Let's start big, and then you could start building up to it otherwise, and go through that healing process. And then you have creation. I love it. So creation is like planting the seeds, watching them grow, right? Planting the seeds for your spirituality and watching it grow and evolve. So lastly, before we end this reading, I just want to pull a couple cards for some advice for you regarding tapping into the past, because it's not easy. It isn't easy, but it's so necessary. and only when you're ready. So let's see what the cards say as far as advice. 10 of Pentacles, the Eon. I love it. I feel like this is like the world. Like you're gonna get through this. You're gonna get through this. The 10 of Pentacles is abundance. It's like spirit is all around you kind of energy. It's also dealing with the family. So there's stuff buried there. And I love it because remember how I was saying like you've suppressed a lot of emotions and there's anger there. I feel like that kind of resonates with that. The arms coming out of the dirt, right? You're ready to dig yourself out of your own grave. We have the sacral chakra. To get creative. To get creative, get passionate. When you're passionate and creative about things that you want to do, you will find a way to make it work. You will find a way to do stuff, to make changes happen. We have the anxiety, we have cooperation. The anxiety is a part of you. It's always there. It's always going to be a part of you. But when you learn to cooperate with your anxiety, when you allow and you accept that anxiety is just a part of your life, okay? Depression is a part of who you are. It's a part of me. I get it too. But when you allow it to be a part of you and you learn to cooperate with the good, the bad, the ugly, that's when you can, deal with it. You can maneuver with it. Yes, you're having a depressed episode today. Okay. Maybe I just won't work on some certain things and I'll work on it tomorrow when I feel a little bit better. Allow yourself to honor your depression. You're not trying to cover it up and you're not trying to get rid of it. It's a part of you. Okay. When you can start to kind of work with it, that's how you can deal. Because your depression is a part of you. It's a part of me too, my love. I have it. It hits me hard. There's times where it hits me really, really hard. And sometimes I have to honor it. Sometimes I have to say, okay, you know what? I need a break today, or I need a day off, or I need to take a nap. Okay. You honor your depression and you kind of like just go with the flow. And that was like one of the biggest advices that my therapist gave me was like, your depression, you feel it coming. You feel it coming like a rolling, like when you see the clouds coming in from a storm, your depression is going to hit. And she's just like, you let it rain, you let it storm, but you don't let it completely take over where you can't do anything else. Sometimes you have to take a day off, or you have to take a break. But she was always telling me to learn how to maneuver through your depression, honor it, respect it, but also you make it honor and respect you too. So it's like it's a two-way street, basically. I feel like a lot of your depression stems from stuff from the past, my love. I feel like there's a lot of things that you need to get out. You need to bring it out. And by doing so, I recommend writing. Writing worked for me. So writing it out, make a list, a list, or just automatically write. Just start writing, tapping into that piece of you that you've layered so much of your life on top of. Let's start bringing it out. Okay. Let's start digging through. Because those are where your seeds lie to plant for your spiritual future, right? So start digging in, my love, when you're ready. And let's seek closure for that. Okay. When you're ready to tap into that stuff, if you want to, have another session with me and whatnot, we could do it. We could work together on that. Because I've done it too. So I feel like I can relate to you, and I'm hoping that I'm getting it right. Like I'm trusting my intuition on this and I'm getting it right. But I've been there. I've been there. Hell have I been there. I can even send you, I made a video, it's on my YouTube channel, but I made a video talking about my experience to an extent. I wasn't getting too much in detail, but I did talk about stuff. That maybe watching it will help you kind of sort through your own thoughts. So let me know if you're interested in seeing that video. I could send you the link to it. But when you're ready, because I'm not rushing you to do this. This has to come from when you know you are ready to tap into that part of yourself. But with this, my love, I hope that you enjoyed your seance reading. Thank you so much for being patient as I was getting these orders out to everybody. Your reading is private, so it's only viewable by you and me. If you want to share it with anyone, you're going to have to send them the direct link, because it's not going to pop up on my YouTube channel for everyone else to see. So with that, I love you. I send you my love. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, love.